This is Vic Patel with Craft Express.
My name is Ashley from Artistry.
It's Gavin, founder, creator of Seps.io, and you're listening to
Two Regular Guys podcast,
Hosted by
Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy,
and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Prepare for the wild.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, April 10th, 2026. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery with Super Gamut and our Success Group. And Terry, this week we are going to have a great group in this time around. So lots of people on screen, and going to have a great conversation about the Sustainable Merch Summit 2026 coming up here very soon on Earth Day. So some of you guys might remember last year, Jay and the crew here pulled together an amazing event, and this is part two. And so we're not only going to preview the event here a little bit, Terry, but we've got these awesome people with us. So we're going to get some actionable, hey, what do we do about sustainability in our industry today kind of things. And obviously it'll go deeper into that coming up in the Sustainable Merch Summit coming up. But going to be a great show today, Terry. I always love talking to passionate people about this topic that, even in our 10 things we'd like to see in 2026, I think this was one of the things on our list, a little more of this. So
Yeah, and we had the honor of hosting last year, and we will host again this year here on Two Regular Guys.
Absolutely. Going to be a great event. So we're going to talk to them about that. And then we also, I think, have some secret sauce here today for the folks, Terry.
We do. The secret sauce today is debating digitizing. We're going to feature Eric today. He'll pop onto camera and tell us why embroidery shops consider in-house digitizing and what tools and techniques he thinks every embroiderer should know, whether you decide to digitize or not. So excited to do that.
Yeah, going to be a great learning experience. And then, Terry, I guess I'm a little remiss here. I did not share who we were going to actually have with us today. I was so excited.
We're going to make it a surprise.
Yeah, surprise. No, so we've got Jay Bissell from the Branded Merch Network. We've got Cassie Green from Apparelist and Teresa Hagel from ASI. And so excited to have them joining us here today. And speaking of Cassie Green from the Apparelist, she's pulling double duty today, so
Exactly.
Double pay coming her way. She's going to be bringing us the news, Terry, whenever you're ready.
All right, let's hear the news.
I'm the wrong person. I'm not prepared, guys.
Well, we like Teresa too, and she does a fabulous job reading the news. But first, let me say, Aaron and Terry, I am going to hold you guys to that double pay. All right, guys, so some quick headlines before we get into today's episode. First up, Apparel Decoration Summit 2026, supported by market-leading suppliers and solution providers. So the Apparel Decoration Summit 2026, which is produced by Printing United Alliance and we here at the Apparelist, will return for its highly anticipated fourth annual event. The summit is scheduled to take place at the Grand Hyatt Nashville in Nashville, Tennessee, June 22nd through 24th. The Apparel Decoration Summit is an invitation-only hosted event designed specifically for senior-level executives, business owners, decision makers in the decorated apparel industry. The summit is tailored for those looking to enhance business strategies, explore the latest decoration technologies, and make informed investment decisions. And so I would encourage everybody, if you follow that link, there is a link that you can apply. We take open applications, but we put you through a pretty rigorous qualification process, but invite everybody and anybody who's interested to apply. Second headline I have for everybody today, ShirtLab launches 6-week sprint program. The upcoming ShirtLab Fast Track Employee Management and Culture Sprint is a 6-week hands-on program designed to help leaders build a structured system for hiring, training, and managing employees for better results. According to a press release from ShirtLab, the sprint is built for people who manage others and are directly responsible for team performance. Whether you are an owner, production manager, department leader, if your role includes hiring, training, or accountability, this program gives you a clear path to improving how your team operates. So again, make sure you follow the link if this is something you're interested in. And finally today, everybody, Bella Canvas named official blank apparel provider for Coachella 2026. So Bella Canvas will serve as the official blanks provider for Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival 2026 merchandise program. That event actually kicks off today and goes through the 12th, and then again April 17th through 19th. As part of the partnership, Bella Canvas will be embedded directly into the Coachella merchandise ecosystem with official products featuring a custom printed on Bella Canvas neck label. Extending beyond the product itself, Bella Canvas will debut a first of its kind immersive brand experience on site across both festival weekends, bringing to life the evolution of Coachella merchandise through a design-forward walkthrough environment inspired by a museum of merchandise. That's all the headlines I've got for you today, guys. Looking forward to the rest of the episode.
All right,
There we
don't
go.
go far, Cassie.
Yeah. All
Sure,
right.
well,
Well,
6 week sprint. 6 weeks feels like more like a marathon, but I love the idea of it.
for sure, for sure. All right. Well, thank you, Cassie, and thank you, Teresa, for saying hi early. Terry, before we get to our lovely guests here and looking to make sure all of our guests come back, apparently, but just looking at behind the scenes here, having all sorts of fun today. But, the one constant for sure is we've got to have a dad joke, right?
Well, I happen to have one.
Well, there we go. Perfect. So that works out wonderfully. So, Terry, let's hear the dad joke.
Let's do it. So, Aaron, I always keep my guitar in my car now.
Really? Always, huh?
Yeah, it's good for traffic jams. So I was thinking if it were you, it might be like drums and Eric, pan flute. I don't know.
You don't want me playing the guitar.
peek into
Drums
the-
I could probably handle, but
Let
that's
me
about
peek
it.
into the studio and see what the reaction to that one.
Yeah.
All right. Before we dive in, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We need your voices. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. Go to osg.link/intro, read a few sentences, be a part of every show. Don't be left out. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys to book a future episode or email at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcast, YouTube Podcast, or wherever you do your podcast listening. We are there. And if you're listening to us live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions. And Aaron, do we have time for a very quick announcement from me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, for everybody that knows me from Equipment Zone, yesterday was my last day at Equipment Zone. Great 14 years there with Harry and Helen and Linda and Dave and all the gang over there. And I appreciate everything that all the time, all the trade shows, all the time we spent together. But time for me to move on to a new chapter and not sit behind this desk from 7 to 4 every day. So
Yeah. It's always great to see, when, like you said, good 14 years, but always fun for a new adventure coming up and
Exactly.
getting out into the world. So, in fact,
Exactly right.
Amy
So,
says,
and I waited to tell Jay till today because I wanted to see his face.
is that maybe why he left us? No, I'm texting with him. He's having some internet issues, so Jay
Right.
will be right back. But Amy says, I'll miss you, Terry. So there you go.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you, Amy.
Yep. All right. Well, you know what, Terry, we've done this before. We know how to make this work here at Two Regular Guys. So we're going to proceed forward, and hopefully Jay will be able to sort his stuff out. But we've got Cassie and Teresa here, so why don't we just dive in?
Yeah. Back on the screen, Jay says it just crashed my computer, and then he gave me the crazy googly eye face.
Okay. All right. Crazy googly eye face crashing his computer. Man, good times today. But let's do it. Here we go. There we go. There's Cassie. There's
Right.
Teresa. Well, I have to say, welcome back to both of you. Unfortunately, sorry, Teresa, once again, but great job.
Teresa, I think from now on you're going to have some news in your back pocket just in case you get put on screen.
If I do that, I'll start preparing some extra.
Yeah. But great job by both of you. Cassie, thank you for bringing the news here today. So big news then, obviously, is this Sustainable Merch Summit. I know you guys have been working with Jay to get this rolling again, and you guys were a huge part of last year's success as well. So whoever, let me just do this. I'm going to throw it to Cassie first, but just kind of give us your high level of what this event is, like when's it coming up, that kind of quick thing, and then we'll ask the same of Teresa.
Sure, yeah. So this is year 2. Last year was the first year we launched, and Jay sort of brought this to Teresa and I and said, you guys are sustainability warriors. Even this morning, Sustainable Sally, who's my alter ego, reared her very beautiful green head about an egg carton. Anyway, so the event is designed to really make this actionable. So in our discussions among industry peers and at events, a lot of people are like, yeah, I would love to do that, but I just don't know where to start, or I don't understand certifications, or what does traceability mean, or who are the companies leading out on this? And we all collectively got together and said, let's give answers to those questions, provide resources, have actual discussions, so that when people attend the Sustainable Merch Summit and even afterward, they're equipped to make their business more sustainable, especially as we start to see more EPR legislation, recycling legislation, things like chemicals and whatnot. At some point, our industry is going to be forced to adopt more of these practices. And so we don't want people to feel panicked going into those moments. We want everybody to have a really good understanding of what this means and how they can apply it. And I'm sure, Teresa, you can add additional thoughts to that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Cassie said it very well. I think the differentiator with this event is we're looking at it as very kind of like boots on the ground, very grassroots. These are the people actually doing things. This is not like pie in the sky, not like the ballroom. These are the real people that want to know real things and want to get started with sustainability. So I think another thing that is really key is that sustainability, there's so much information out there about sustainability. It can get very confusing and it's hard to prioritize what is most important. So I'm hoping that this event will help bring clarity to people and actually help them focus on information that will help them move the needle in their business and the industry as a whole.
Well, I think last year, I feel like we all thought, okay, let's see how it goes. And wow, it was awesome. It was really, really a great event. So I'm certainly looking forward to this year as well.
Yeah.
So for both of you, what are people actually trying to figure out when it comes to sustainable merch right now? Teresa, let's start with you.
Well, as I said, I think clarity is one thing that people really need right now, just because there's so much information. We know that from like anything, just on the internet, there's so many claims, so many things being said. So what is actually important? What is actually, worth knowing? Another thing I think that's important that people are looking into is just what materials are most sustainable? What is actually a sustainable product? Where does like the quality of the product kind of fit into that? And then on the supply chain as a whole, like kind of what's going on there. We need the transparency. We need to know, what's happening so that there's not like kind of bad things being hidden, like chemicals or workers treated poorly. You know what I mean? Like, so it's that whole scope of the whole circularity of the product, what happens at end of life. I think these are all kinds of the things that people are, need to know about. That's what's important.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Cassie?
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. It kind of goes back to what Teresa and I were saying, is there's just so much information. It's almost overwhelming. We really see people searching for actual data points, and which is a lot of why we chose to focus our presentations on things like traceability and certifications. As we started seeing sustainability gain momentum, so many companies were making green claims, right? Eco-friendly claims. And as you started to dig into that, we started finding out, okay, maybe this isn't as eco-friendly as we thought, or maybe there's not as much backing or things like that. So I think people are really searching for real backing, right? Not the greenwashing, not the green hushing, not the things that don't necessarily stand up. Understanding what is organic cotton and how is that actually defined, because there's so much that goes into the farming of that. And then moving more into like the apparel decorating side of the industry, what does that mean for decorators? Because, you can get a very eco-friendly, sustainable product, but as soon as you start putting certain inks and chemicals and things like that on it, it changes the dynamic. So understanding how that all plays in, and then going into the end of life cycle and things like that. What are the options and resources? And that can all feel really overwhelming to research. And so I think by trying to boil it down to some easy top level points to start, and at least giving people a leg up, I think that's what people are looking for, is we just need like some direction to start our journey. And so it's like almost beginner level, but not. I hate using the word beginner level, but it kind of is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what it was for me last year too, right? Like we talked about it, we had you guys on, and there was really good conversations around it, but you're right. It did feel like a little overwhelming. Like, okay, I'm interested. This is important. I know that, but I don't even know where to start, or I don't even know, okay, if my efforts are being put in the right, kind of towards the right things, right? It was interesting when we had Teresa on a couple weeks back, her report that was like, oh, wow, you could be going, yeah, I'm doing all these things. I'm going to avoid all these things, and then realize that you're actually going in the opposite direction if you don't have the data points like you guys are talking about here. So, I think that's, to me, like this really does help us move it from, from a nice idea into a real growth strategy. So how are you seeing that kind of happen in real life, and what do we think the Sustainability Merch Summit this year is going to add to that? Kind of, again, this idea of moving it from nice idea to real growth strategy. So, Cassie, can I start with you on this one?
Sure. I think it really boils down to something that Teresa and I, and even Jay, have been hitting home, is that you can't hit this all at once. You can't encompass all the sustainability changes at once. We are not aiming for perfection. We're not aiming to 180 turn the ship right out of the gate. We are looking for just a few simple strategies to get people started. And I think that's what you have to really recognize as your sustainability journey, both personally and in your business. So when I look at sustainability personally, I looked at, in my home, what are the things that I can realistically change? And that's where I focused my efforts. That's where I started researching. And I think you can take that same thought process and apply it, which is what we are really trying to focus on with Sustainable Merch Summit, is what are the realistic things you can start doing right now. Here they are. We have done the research on the back end. Teresa and Jay and I and Jeff and even you guys have worked very hard to look at the things that we think the businesses listening to this, event realistically do without feeling overwhelmed. And so we've identified these smaller things, but ASI has done a great job running reports through the years. We've started running reports and looking at those data trends and things that the industry is saying to us. We've identified the areas we think, okay, you can realistically change these areas. And then slowly we're going to build momentum. As you start to go through your business and your journey, there will be bigger things you can change and more things you can change, and things that are probably that we're following now that maybe we discovered down the road aren't great. But hey, we've got to try for the right thing. And I'm sure, Teresa, you can speak more to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would say is when you start to kind of dig into sustainability, changes to your business, you really have to be very focused on like every aspect of it, and that actually helps you run your business better. Oftentimes you're going to be saving money because if you're putting in, more energy efficient practices, you're not spending as much. So that, I mean, like it can be a win just like on a business level in that sense. So, you don't always have to look at it as being, a detriment, like this is going to be more difficult or this is going to cost me money. Sometimes it saves you money. Sometimes it's going to improve your business. The other thing I would say with the summit itself, we are going to be peppering in a lot of like real world kind of case studies, like testimonials from real people in the industry about like their favorite merch that is actually favorite sustainable merch, I should say. You know what I mean? Like things that are actually sustainable and, that they've kept and loved and that are moving the needle. So, it's going to be a lot of strategies, a lot of like things you can do, but also examples that you can follow.
I just want to add to that point, Teresa, you made about the cost, because that's a huge pain point, and that's mostly what we hear from people. Other than feeling overwhelmed, people are like, oh, it's too expensive. The blanks are more expensive. Now I have to retrofit my business with these different lights or different sinks or different, even in some cases, different equipment. But to Teresa's point, it's, if you think about your business in the long run, like let's see the forest through the trees here, right? So yes, maybe there are some initial investments up front, but in the long run, this is going to save you money, and it's even going to save your customers money, because if you're giving them merch that lasts longer, that holds up, that's durable, has really high quality prints, that's great for them too. So really, like the long-term benefits are also being highlighted through the summit.
Yeah. I love that.
And understanding your supply chain is a reputational thing too, because if you want to find out just that your stuff is being made in a sweatshop, but you just didn't know about it. You know what I mean? Like these are things that you need to be locked in with your business, because it could hurt you. Let alone it being like the right thing to do. It's also the safer thing to do for your business.
Yeah. I love that you guys are understanding that and focused on that too, because I do think a lot of times, we look at things that are kind of altruistic, the right thing to do, like you just mentioned, and everybody goes, great. And then we just give it lip service. But we're saying, no, it's not just the right thing to do. It's a good thing to do, and it happens to also be the right thing to do. It makes me think of Jed Seifert, for example, and his what he's pushing forward, right? It's like, no, this is good for business. It also happens to be the right thing to do. So these things are always important to us here at the Two Regular Guys, for sure. Real quick, before, I know Terry's got another question, I've got some more questions, but I wanted to just real quick, those of you that are tuned in live right now, make sure that you are going to brandedmerchnetwork.com/SMS, Sustainable Merch Summit, and get registered for it. There's no charge to it, so just get registered for it. In fact, I don't know where we're at in the numbers, but there's a chance you might even get a free sustainable garment out of the whole gig, so I think that's cool. We'll talk about that in a bit. But I want you guys to also, what are your questions around sustainability? You have Sustainable Sally here, and Teresa, what's your
I don't have a
Alter
name.
ego.
alter ego? We got to work on that then. But anyways, you've got these two amazing people here, so let's talk about this at a little deeper level. So before you jumped in there, Terry, I just wanted to make sure that our regulators were part of the conversation here. So, all right.
Well, our audience is really good at giving names to things. So if anybody has a name for Teresa's alter ego, that's where the regulators came from. So
Yeah, that's right. That's a good point.
So Teresa, a lot of the sustainability messaging we see out there, it feels like a marketing plan more than a sustainability plan. So how can a brand communicate sustainability that actually builds trust instead of making us all feel like it's just, making us all skeptical?
Right. The greenwashing issue. I mean, I think the issue, and I think the panel that I'll be doing is kind of all about that proof over promises, and differentiating between, what is good messaging, what is lazy messaging. And obviously, with marketing, stories are so important. And I think stories are still important with sustainability. But what we have to do is kind of move beyond the fuzzy and the feel good and get very specific about what's actually being claimed. So you can have the story of like, oh, this wonderful sock is made of, recycled material. Okay, but like now you tell the story, tell the marketing story. Now back it up with third-party certifications, back it up with measurable data, explain exactly what the materiality of that is. Is that GRS recycled material? Share how you are improving, your baseline of, energy expended. Like what are your emissions at? What did they start at? How are they, getting lower? So it's like you can have the feel-good stories, you can have the messaging, the really, pretty green, background, but that's not the sustainability. That is the marketing piece of it. The sustainability part of it is all of the real data and things that are backing up those stories. The other thing that I would say is authenticity is really important.
Yeah.
So you should be vocal about the areas where you still fall short and how you plan to address it. Don't sweep that under the rug. Like we've been saying all along, nobody's expecting people to be perfect about sustainability right out of the gate. It's not possible. And even the people that are, the best at this are still not perfect. It's always a journey that we're trying to get farther along on. But the biggest mistake I think you can make is to hide the areas where you're weak. So one of the things I think about is that Patagonia impact report that they released, I think last year, where right at the beginning they're like, hey, nothing we do is sustainable, which you would think is like a counterintuitive move to make. They're very, very much known for being sustainable, being like this very, impact do-gooder kind of company, right? Mm-hmm. But they came out of the gate and said, hey, like these are all the places where we're falling short. And I think that's a very powerful way to do things because it resonates with people, keeps the discussion grounded, and you can go from there. Like, so if you know where you're falling short and you're open about it, your customers can kind of follow along on the journey as you are making improvements and as you are sharing the data and the backing up the things you're doing.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Good. Man, this is such good stuff. I'm just trying to take it all in here. Terry, do you have the junior yellow legal pad there? You made some notes for me?
I'm working on it.
Okay. All right. Working on it now. Good. All right. Well, let's get into this part. Cassie, in fact, I think you brought this up at the beginning, but kind of this idea of certifications, the claims, the materials. Again, there's a lot to wrap our brains around here. So how should people think about what actually matters versus what's actually noise?
It's the $1 million question, right? Because it's really hard to make those determinations without putting some serious time and effort into it, right? And so I wanted to start by saying our presenting partner, Stanley Stella, does a really good job of making their transparency and everything very clear up front on their website. So I think that is the perfect example of things that we as consumers, as decorators, whatever, should be looking for. Are people's claims very, very crystal clear, very specific, and are they shared right up front, right out of the gate? As Teresa said, are they honest and transparent? Are their certifications, speaking about that specifically, shared up front? Because if they list their actual certification, because there are so many out there, you can now, okay, what does that certification even mean? Let's go look it up. And if the language is confusing, which it often is, listen, enlist that. I hate saying this because it's AI, but enlist the help of AI to help you break it down if you really need to, or the help of experts to break it down if you really need to. But seeing those specific claims up front by these companies helps identify who's doing what specifically. Now, when we're talking about certifications, this is really interesting that this came up right now. I was conducting an interview yesterday, and the woman I was interviewing made a really good point. Because there are so many certifications out there, she kind of was saying, hey, look, identify what you're passionate about. Are you passionate about using only 100% organic cotton? Okay, start pursuing that track. Look for those specific certifications and research those. Are you really interested in the carbon footprint of your business? What is the impact you're having on your environment at large around you? You know, your fumes that you're emitting from your equipment, things like that. Okay, now research that specific track. So stay within things that align with your personal ethos at your business, align with your employees' personal ethos, and then start pursuing those certifications, because that will help sort of narrow it down so you're not feeling like a ton of different certifications are coming at you and you're trying to identify which ones are great. Start small. Pick little pieces. Pick those little things that matter to you most. Research those ones specifically. Get really, in-depth knowledge on those. Then you can start branching out. And when you start seeing the noise, it's going to become a little more obvious, because as you start to research, you become more educated. And so when you start seeing just like, oh, a company's website, all it has is a little green leaf and says we're earth friendly, but you can't find any justification, you can't find any listed certifications, probably a little bit of noise, right?
Yeah.
So those are some big indicators.
Nice. Teresa, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I was just going to add to that there obviously, like Cassie is saying, there's so many different certifications out there. And if you're looking to, pursue a certification, you cannot do all of them. It's like cost prohibitive, and many of them are very similar. So you do need to kind of narrow it down to where your business is focused. But another thing I would recommend is look at what your competitors and your clients are using. You know what I mean? What do they value? So I mean, in the promo industry, a lot of people have gone the EcoVadis route. So if that's like kind of become the standard for your industry, that might be the one that you want to go to as well, because it'll be sort of more of an apples to apples thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's tons of different certifications out there. You cannot do them all or know about all of them. But you can, some people have already started down these journeys and started the work, so you can kind of piggyback off of what the industry leaders have done.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good stuff, you guys. All right, well, let's get Mr. Jay Bassell in here. Hey, Jay, good to see you, sir.
Great to be back.
Yes. Didn't mean to send the computer crashing service to you, but we got you back.
I'm going to totally blame Terry Combs for that, because his computer had issues, and so that virus spread to me. I have no idea why I've earned that, but today was my day, so I take one for the team.
I'm glad we got it out of the way early. So, Jay, good to have you here with us. I want to start kind of with you real quick here, Jay, and ask kind of what we talked about at the top with Cassie and Teresa, but tell us about this event, why it's important to you, and what you're looking forward to here in the second version of the Sustainability Summit.
Oh, well, first of all, I have to give a huge shout out to these two subject matter experts and aces. Now you know why I've surrounded myself with Cassie and Teresa, because quite honestly, they carried the moment. So this is an opportunity for us to have a second annual event. And I'll be quick, but by saying I was on the journey to learn more, and I realized quite honestly, really quickly, how confusing it was for me. I just heard, Cassie and Teresa talk about the complexity of the certifications and how many different certifications there were. And so myself and Jeff Solomon, we started this conversation and we said, why is this so hard? It shouldn't be this hard. We're trying to do these things well. We're trying to do the right things. And now here comes the marketers, they're going to spin it up and they're going to tell us about all the fluff. And so it really became confusing for us. And it wasn't for lack of trying. It wasn't for lack of attention. It was for lack of clarity. And so that being said, we realized that a lot of people are like us. We want to do what's right, but we don't get it. And there was no shortage of claims, and so what we realized is, again, there was like this shortage of clarity. And so the summit exists because we want to help give people in print, promo, and apparel some answers that they can actually use. And so the bottom line is this: sustainability and your pursuit on whatever path you take shouldn't feel this complicated. And we think it's our job at this summit with Teresa, with Cassie, with our amazing partners to make sense of it. And so, yeah, that's why I get ramped up and that's why I'm jacked up. And thanks for letting me hang out with you guys.
Yeah, this is very cool. Very cool. So regulators, first off, let's get a show of hands. Who's done and registered already? brandedmerchnetwork.com/SMS. And then also, regulators, let us know what questions you have about this. And so we'll get into some more of the nitty gritty of the event here, I think, Terry. Does that sound like a good place to go next?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what makes this second annual Sustainable Merch Summit different from any of these other industry events or conversations that are going on out there? Teresa, let's start with you. How's Sustainable Merch Summit different?
Well, I mean, first of all, it has some fabulous people involved in it. But I think the difference is obviously it is virtual. I mean, it's happening live, but it's virtual, so we're not kind of forcing everybody to go to some far flung place and meet up in a cold kind of ballroom and take notes all day. You know what I mean? Like this, it's a very intentionally small 2-hour window of your life where it's filled with like real world examples. We change it up. It's not, we have the panels obviously, but there's videos, there's, PowerPoints, there's all kinds of different stuff for you to kind of gather, all kinds of different information for you to digest. So I think we do a good job of keeping it fresh, keeping it interesting. And even though it is 2 hours long, last year, I don't think anybody was really bored. I felt like it was engaging the whole time. And I think people did a lot out of it.
I looked up and like, what, 2 hours? It already happened? What just happened? That was awesome.
Well, how about you, Cassie? How do you think that it's different?
To just build on what Teresa said, which is so well put. I like that there are a lot of different components here, right? There are QR codes you can scan to download things. There are, PDFs and resources that you can take and use. There are our panels that we have are a specific selection of people we know are experts. So we're now connecting you. Yes, we are not experts, but yes, we are researched on this topic, Teresa, Jay, and I. We do our own research, but we purposely bring in experts that anybody who's attending can connect with and learn more. And they each bring something different to the table, from whether it's a different perspective, a different expertise, whatever. These are people who can help you in your journey. And then I also like to say, last year, the audience was super highly engaged. And I think that's a huge component of this, is come active, come ready to participate, throw your questions at people, make your comments, share what you've done so far in your shop or what you would like to do. I mean, the more we as industry peers talk to each other about this, it helps propel it forward. Because as Teresa said, look at what everybody else in your industry is doing, because that's inspiration for you to get started. Or they might be able to give you a real, like, hey, here's how I got started. Here's who I connected with. Here's the websites I found were helpful. And so as active, engaged people with this event, like, that makes this one just by far and large one of my favorite. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a moderator, right? But like, it's the activations of everybody else who make it special.
That comment crowd was boisterous last time, and I hope that they'll be just as boisterous this time.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Jay?
Oh, listen, it's you're getting a weird look into my ADHD brain, I think, because the way we've set this up was to purposely be like 2 hours that goes by in a blink. And this isn't a stage. There's a lot of events that are on a stage, and it's elevated. And I love the fact that Teresa said something about ballrooms, because she knows that's kind of my favorite thing to say. No ballrooms allowed. This is not that. There's nothing wrong with those, but that's kind of a top-down strategy. And what we really wanted to do was we wanted to take it from the other direction. The people that are in the trenches doing the work, the brands that deserve the spotlight because of the proof, not because of the claim. And so these are real conversations. So imagine being at the table. So this is our analogy. And rather than listening to the people on stage, imagine that we have this table and you got a seat at the table. So we're not here to sound smart. Duh, look, this guy right here. We're here to make this stuff actually make sense. And so why it's my favorite is because it's more grounded in reality. It's more of a grassroots bottom-up approach. If you're tired of guessing, you're going to come to hang out with us to get clear. Come hang out with our friends. Come hang out with our partners. No ballroom required. And we want to make sure that that chat room is bringing some serious energy, because seriously, that's where we start to connect. The brands winning, that, in my opinion, the brands that are really winning right now are making this easier to understand. And so collectively, when we do that, then we realize this isn't about being perfect. This is about being understood and about believing in these principles. And I think I caught just the end of something that either Cassie or Teresa said right as I was coming back in, which was the fact is you can make a difference and pick your lane, but make it easy for yourself. Focus on the progress, not the perfection. And so that's why it's my favorite. Obviously, it's sometimes a little rough around the edges, but that's how we like it. We're the misfits. We've earned it.
That's right. That's right. If you associate with two other guys, you got to be prepared for
That's right.
rough around the edges. So.
There are 14 years of trying to get this right.
14 years of rough around the edges. Yeah.
Right. And as soon as I come in this morning, it's like, boom, full scale crash. Like, what?
And for our listeners, right before we went on the air, I was telling everybody about my my computer crises yesterday, where my computer just kept restarting itself. So, yeah, I did probably give that to you, Jay. Sorry.
Sorry, buddy.
I love you anyway, brother.
Yeah. All right. Hey, let's again, we want to obviously get any questions that anybody has while we've got you guys here. But can you guys tell us a little bit more about the panels? I believe all three of you are leading a panel. Is that correct? Okay. Jay, start with your panel. Tell us a little bit about it and what people can expect.
Yeah, thanks. So from my side, what I wanted to do is make sure that people understood, anybody that's going to attend, at some point we know that this has an impact on our growth. And so if this is going to help us build our business, and if there's a strategy where it actually makes a positive impact on sales, I want to have that conversation. I want there to be the reward for doing the right thing, but also the reward for impacting your sales, your bottom line. So is there a growth strategy? And the people that are on our panel, we have Julie Johnson from Stanley Stella, we have Ryan Moore from All Made Apparel, we have Will from Blue Ridge Graphics, who's amazing. I just talked to him for about an hour last night. He's so fired up. And who else is on? Oh, we have Kate Alves from Promo Shop. Kate lives in this world, and she's going to be able to kind of tell us, here's how it's impacting our growth. And so it's all about the sales, and it's all about not the specific sales strategies, but just kind of here's where there's friction, and here's where you can maybe pivot, and here are some things that are going to help you get into better conversations that actually make an impact on your bottom line.
Awesome. Teresa, what about you? Can you tell us about your panel, please?
Sure. My panel is all about, I think, the proof over the promise is getting why transparency is so important.
Yeah.
I have three awesome panelists lined up. I have Katie Bauman of BDA, Liz Wimbush of PPAI, and then Eric Henry of TS Designs. And they're all very awesome, and I think kind of we'll be able to tackle things from different angles. As one being like a top 40 distributor, Liz, being having a sustainability role, but at ASI's kind of friendly competitor. But we both are trying to lift up the industry as a whole. And then Eric Henry, he's like the radical transparency, like dirt to shirt model. He's awesome, and I'm so excited that he's going to be part of it. So I think that the conversation is going to be very spirited, very helpful, very real world, and all about transparency and why is it important.
Yeah, so, sounds very actionable too. So that sounds great. Awesome. Cassie, what about you?
Yeah, so as we've been kind of discussing, mine is really on certifications, what matters, what doesn't. We'll be taking sort of a two-part approach to this. We'll first be kind of discussing how you as a business can pursue a certification for your business. Whatever that looks like, whether you're print, promo, apparel, whatever, what are the certifications that should matter to you, and how do you start pursuing those? The second angle we're going to be looking at this is maybe a certification for your business isn't the right fit or isn't the right fit right now, and that's fine. What you can be doing is working with partners that are certified. There are plenty of blank suppliers that have these certifications. There are plenty of, ink suppliers that have certifications. So how do you identify which ones you want to work with and why? So those will be the two main focuses. Also have some great panelists. We have Sarah Osorio from Printing United Alliance, who's our education partner.
Sweet.
And if anybody has ever heard Sarah speak, she is so dynamic and so detailed. If you were confused going into this, event, you're not going to be afterwards, because Sarah is really good at clarifying the details and simplifying them. And then we also have Julie from Stanley Stella, who again I mentioned as our presenting partner, is very open, transparent, and authentic about their sustainability and what they do. And then we'll also have Gold Star represented. Jay, I know we were working with them. They want to be so involved, but they're kind of figuring out who's going to be involved. But just know that we'll have an expert from their side as well. So going to be a very spirited discussion.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. All right. We've got a question from one of our regulators here, Ramona McKee. He says, I know you are all focused here on production product sales, but how does this play into with embroidery, specifically supplies, stabilizers, threads, etc.? So anybody want to take that question first? Raise of hands or
Where's Eric Campbell when we need him?
Yeah, do we get Eric in here?
I mean,
Go ahead, Teresa. I was going to say, I have a really high level, but I can't get specific, but go ahead, Teresa.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, with the embroidery, like, not specifically about the supplies, but the blanks themselves. Obviously, you could know about what sustainable blanks are out there, which, if you're like, embroidery is kind of already an elevated kind of higher end decoration method. So you would want something, a blank that is, higher quality and something maybe that is sustainable. So I think, in that sense, it'll be helpful for embroiderers. I don't know if we'll be getting into the nitty gritty of the actual like materials, but I'm sure that some of the supplies might have like Ecotex or like ISO kind of certification behind them. So I think there's things that you could learn related to these materials and how they're certified and what they're made of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are some threads out there that are made of like recycled materials and things like that. So again, it comes down to when you're evaluating your supplies, your thread, all that stuff, just do your research. So if there's a specific company you're looking to source your thread from, but you want to find a very like company that is sustainability minded, just do your research on their website or reach out to them directly and ask them. That would be my recommendation. But I do know there are some supplies and things like that out there that are more sustainable. But as Teresa said, it really is a bigger picture mindset. It's what blank are you putting it on? Are you telling your customer, hey, look, embroidery lasts forever? Okay, so if you are working with this high quality garment that's also embroidered, it's going to last forever. So that's kind of the bigger picture maybe discussion.
Yeah, I love it. Well, our intrepid producer, Eric, is actually in the comments as well. And he says, threads also have certifications and Okotex definitely is there. And then he followed that up saying using less stabilizer is good for your embroidery and the planet. So
there you go.
There you go. Good for business and good for doing the right thing.
And
All right.
yes, Ramona, that was Eric answering your question.
Definitely. Exactly. All right. So let's go ahead and put a bow on this thing here. Jay, can you tell us a little bit about the presenting partner, Stanley Stella, just for people that might not be familiar?
Yeah,
with them?
well, if it's okay with you, I want to make sure that everybody knows we've got incredible partners. And
Yep.
yes, Stanley Stella is definitely our presenting partner. They've stepped up in a big way, both with helping us shape the actual content as well as the back and forth of the visibility, who they are and what they represent. Their path to this is serious. They don't take themselves too seriously, but they take the processes very seriously. They talk about the ginners and the spinners and the farmers and they're talking about what organic really means. And then they have elevated blanks that are just superior in so many ways. So I'm a little biased as I've gotten to know them better over the course of the last couple of months. But we also have the wonderful folks from like Cassie from Apparelist is supporting us. Teresa from ASI is supporting us. And the Printing United Alliance has stepped up this year and is our education sponsor. So we say sponsor, but we really mean partner because they're not just writing a check for the sake of advertising. They see this as this bigger conversation. And to tie this right back to Ramona, it's those questions that bring up the clarity that say, here's my lane, where can I do better? And so these fine companies have created an energy around us. I'm so grateful for that support and then helping us push that conversation forward together. So it's just like, it's clean, it's elevated, it's in the trenches, and where we can with Stanley Stella, with some of our other partners, we're able to kind of make this simple enough to share. And if the gap right now is product, we can have that conversation. But it's not always about the product. Sometimes it's just the fact that we don't have the confidence to drive forward, and we need that extra layer of understanding. And so Teresa and Cassie and their panels help really bring that together.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, Jake, tell us where people can get more information, see the panelists, see the partners, register, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So, I mean, Earth Day, April 22nd, 1 p.m. Eastern. Please visit us at the Branded Merch Network. If you come to our website, brandedmerchnetwork.com/SMS, which stands for Sustainable Merch Summit, that's where our registration page is. There's more details there, some insights there as well. But please join us, please register. And for everyone who's thinking, oh, I may not be able to be there, register anyway, because that's the first step. So do that, and then if your schedule allows, please join us. Of course, we're going to record this. Of course, they're going to be able to tune in later. But the live energy in the chat and getting that confirmation of the fun and the insights, we really hope you can join us live.
Absolutely. But like you said, register first. So
register
regulators,
first,
who's
no matter
registered?
what.
Yep. Put your hand up so people get the FOMO out there.
Oh, my hand's up. I'm registered, by the way. I don't know if
I
you guys know
registered
that.
yesterday, so there we go. All right. Well, this is awesome. Terry, anything else that you had?
No, I'm really looking forward to it. If it's half as exciting as last year's, we're going to be successful. So, and of course, Cassie and Teresa, we will be seeing you guys on the news in the meantime.
For sure.
Can I just say one more thing? I know this is. I want to give you two some love and shine the light on you. You make this possible, quite honestly. And so, your history, your longest running podcast show and apparel decoration, your spirit. You're both my friends, but yet you bring this energy with you. So this wouldn't work without the two regular guys, without Eric moving the buttons behind the scenes. All of it. We need you. We appreciate you. You make this happen. So shout out to both of you, all three of you.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. We appreciate it and excited to be a partner in this. Again, yeah, we love the energy that you guys are bringing to this. We know it's important, and we feel like this is our ability to help out and do our part as well. So excited about April 22nd. Did I just get it right? Okay, good.
You got it right.
I was like, wait a second, I just spaced it in my brain, but I went forward anyhow. All right, good. We will see you guys on April 22nd. And obviously, as Terry said, Teresa, Cassie, you still have news duty as well, so don't forget. Thanks, you guys. Yes,
Bye, everybody.
be ready.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Fantastic. Really
Yeah.
looking forward to this event. And if you didn't see it last year, please jump in. You're going to be glad you came.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. All right. Well, Terry, great stuff there. What, you made your big announcement. You have last day at Equipment Zone, but I know you're still on the move. What's happening in your world?
Yeah, my complete screen printing business course. I'll be at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago, June 6th and 7th, August 22nd and 23rd, November 7th and 8th. And you can sign up for that at atlasScreenSupply.com and watch for all my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Absolutely. So the next round of the Business Builder Accelerator program that is actually just wrapping up right now, our first cohort, and man, the experience has been incredible. I'll share some of the feedback that I've gotten, but we're already preparing for the next round of this. It starts June 8th. And so I've opened up free clarity calls to help you get focused on what really matters in your business. And what I'm hearing from the current group is things like, I finally feel clear, I'm more confident, and even the concept of I'm not beating myself up as much, right? Like as business owners, sometimes we're our own worst critics. And so these folks that have been through the accelerator program are really feeling that foundation that helps them through those things. And so it's not necessarily about better tactics, Terry. It's really about enjoying your business again. I feel like my whole mission in life is to help people fall deeper in love with what they get to do, get back to having fun. It's the title of my book, The Fundamentals of Business Success. So that's what I'm trying to bring. And I think we did a really good job with that the first time around. So I'm already excited about what's going to happen in the second time around. But either way, whether you're interested or not, I am really excited to have these clarity calls with folks. So if you'll head over to osg.link/builder, Once you get there, you'll see a button that just says free clarity call. It's kind of this blue button right there. Push the button, grab a time. There's no pressure, just a real conversation between us. And I'll share some of my perspectives with you. And if I believe you're going to take some real value out of that. And so, yeah, let's do that. Get signed up for that today, osg.link/builder. And then the next thing for me, Terry, is Small Business Saturdays is finally back, and excited to drop a new episode tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to be tackling the fear of success. You know, that when something goes right feeling, but it feels uncomfortable, like that's weird. That really worked out, and yet I feel uncomfortable. Why is that? So we're going to not only tackle the fear of success, but we are going to also figure out then how do we stop second guessing what's working so we can continue that momentum. And so I'm really excited to be back with that tomorrow. You don't want to miss that, noon Central Time tomorrow. If you'll head over to liveosg.com, and you can subscribe there on my YouTube channel, which is where liveosg.com goes. Plus get notifications when the episodes are happening. And there is a full library of business mindset and practical tips that you can start implementing right away. Just make sure that you're subscribed over there at Live OSG. So, and then as far as actually IRL stuff in real life, which love doing that stuff as well. We've got DAX Dayton on the horizon here, April 24th and 25th. And I've got 2 classes there and facilitating one more. My first class is called The Myth of Everyone is My Customer, and just kind of sharing a clear vision of who you serve and how to attract more of the right customers. And then the next class is Bye Bye Burnout, and I'll be sharing how to prevent burnout before it starts, creating sustainable habits that keep your creativity and your business thriving. And then the next morning, I get to facilitate a discussion about DTF 101, from file to finished print, what actually matters. And it's a conversation with myself, Rob Super, Sean Stewart, and whoever's in the classroom there, where we talk about real world DTF workflow, not just the fuzzy, fun stuff that you see in the marketing pushes, but what's really happening, all the way from starting with the right artwork to the decisions you make in your software, to the film, ink, powder, how that recipe works together, how you apply it to the shirt. And we've really seen over the course of time here where most of the problems actually begin, and how successful shops reduce reprints, wasted time, and frustration. So that's going to be a great conversation too. If you'll go to daxshow.com and then use the code SuperRob2026, SuperRob2026, all one word together, that will give you a $30 credit towards any education that you want to sign up for. So make sure you're using that code SuperRob2026. And I think that's it. Do you want to share what Eric's got coming up here, Terry?
Yeah, absolutely. Join Eric today for the Take Up episode 248, Layering, Sequencing, Pathing, and Planning. Learn the difference between these 3 key embroidery digitizing concepts and how each helps you determine how you approach the order in which you digitize and stitch, as well as the very shapes and settings each object in your design should take. Jump in at 2:30 Mountain Time, 4:30 Eastern Time, and we'll discuss these success critical concepts. Head over to ericcampbell.com and click the Take Up at the top to access this and all his past episodes.
Awesome. All right. Well, good stuff there. Speaking of Eric, we should have him do the secret sauce. What do you say?
I think we should, Eric.
Hey folks, today for the secret sauce, I'm going to talk about debating digitizing. Now the thing is, most people who are debating on bringing digitizing in-house, they have good intentions, but they kind of have bad logic. And you guys know I've talked about this before. If you think about starting to digitize, they have a real skewed idea of what bringing digitizing in-house can do for their business. And the most frequent reason I hear for potentially moving to in-house digitizing is the worst reason. If your reason for digitizing in-house is just, I don't want to pay somebody for files, you don't really probably have the reason to digitize. There are 3 things to remember when you choose digitizing in-house. Number 1, you can be a successful embroiderer without digitizing. Number 2, you can and should learn to digitizing while still outsourcing the bulk of your design work. And number 3, those who choose not to digitize should still learn to customize. And a couple other things that we're going to talk about here in a minute. I love digitizing. I care about it a great deal, and I think that if you are an embroiderer, I think it's always a wonderful idea to consider whether or not you would like to digitize, but it's not always the quickest path to profit. And those learning to digitize simply to get out of paying for it should evaluate opportunity costs, the time spent working on it instead of marketing, production, development, anything else, the other facets of your business, especially if you're a solopreneur, as well as the direct costs that may be tied up in software, training, and the like. But if cost is your only concern, digitizing may not be for you. But there are really good reasons to digitize, honestly. And I think we should really kind of cover the right reasons for doing your own digitizing. Though I can dissuade embroiderers if they don't just want to ditch the cost, there are some things that are really great because they do unquestionably add capability and capacity to your shop. And these following benefits are the most likely to make your bottom line better. The top one is responsiveness. Being able to digitize quickly, make rapid changes in response to a shift in direction or technical demands, having the capacity for quick turnarounds, and facilitating discussions between skilled digitizers and your customers can add tremendous value to your company and to your customer interactions. Qualified consultations on call added to fast output and nimble alterations makes you invaluable to customers who have to have work done well and in a hurry and to great detailed specifications. Being able to do that can absolutely add to your shop's unique value proposition. Production control. If you're serving demanding customers, both who have specific requests with the style of execution or the quality, you really need tight control of every aspect of the design process. So creating and controlling your design with exacting standards can be hard if you don't have a known digitizer with which to work. But being in-house means you can do your particular styles and set up correctly, have standard operating procedures, and really take into account your particular setup, equipment capabilities, production workflow, and style. Outside digitizers are not as likely to maintain that bespoke setup for every customer, or you might have to do a lot of hand-holding to get where you want to get as far as the way you want to do production or to deal with specific techniques. There is creativity. In-house digitizing allows for direct experimentation, sampling, speculative work. That really, it does come with a direct cost and difficulty when you're using outsourced digitizing. Whether you want to examine new techniques for production, evaluate materials for your process that are new to you, create interesting textures and treatments, or fulfill special customer requests that go away from that traditional realm of embroidery, having in-house digitizing can let you test, make adjustments, and create bespoke pieces in a way that would take ages with an off-site digitizer, especially if you have a digitizer who's not particularly responsive. The value of creative samples and one-of-a-kind artwork and having access to those skilled creatives can't be overestimated, nor can the value of creative play for your own well-being and growth within the medium. Those are all great reasons to digitize. The thing is, it still doesn't mean everybody's going to choose to digitize in-house, and that's fine. But for those deciding not to digitize, there is a couple of things we should really go over. If none of these situations apply to you, doesn't mean you should stay in the dark about digitizing. There are two questions I always hear from those who decide to outsource their digitizing entirely that really require consideration. Number one, do I need to learn all the technicalities of digitizing? Not perhaps everything about artistic interpretation especially, but you do need to know the basics. Understanding not only the basic distortion common to all embroidery and how digitizers compensate for it, as well as the other terms and conditions of embroidery really can accurately allow you to diagnose problems in your embroidery and establish whether or not they're digitizing based problems or problems on the machine or with execution materials. Moreover, knowing critical terms, even about aesthetic matters like stitch types, angles, and the like, will allow you to communicate better with your outsourcing partners and get quick, directed edits when you have issues. If you know and communicate what you need to your digitizers, you will get it. The second question is, do I need digitizing software? And hey, as a software guy, you're going to obviously think I'm a little colored on this one, but even before I was in the software world, I always say yes. Even if you will never digitize an entire design for yourself, not having the ability to make simple alterations or add critical machine functions where needed, or even to add a simple name or personalization in-house will be crippling to your production on some job at some point. Having a missed placement stitch for applique, a tie-off is missing so things are unraveling, or dropping in a same-day added name drop for a particular team or group, it shouldn't require reaching out to a partner or days of downtime or really any sort of panic on your end. These are things you should be able to do, and you need the tools to do them. This does mean, as already stated, that you need to know a little bit about things like stitch density, underlay styles, and the basics of how to place lettering, compose elements, and even a little bit of drawing, and definitely everything you need to know about outputting files for your production. There's a level of maintenance digitizing that doesn't necessarily require artistic interpretation or super deep knowledge to pull off. And for me, having a machine without the ability to manage at least these basic tasks is like having a car without a steering wheel. All potential, but no ability to direct it or move forward. So ultimately, in conclusion, guys, the decision to digitize or not will greatly depend on your vision for your embroidery business. It's about your business plan and who you're serving. The thing is, it's never permanent or irreversible. You can always also vary the mix between how much you outsource and how much you handle yourself, even if you do choose to digitize or hire on the capacity as your business moves into that creative, responsive, production-focused direction. Consider your customers, consider your goals, and how you present your unique value. Then ask yourself why it is that you've started to debate digitizing. As long as you understand the essentials, you'll get where you need to go. And that is my secret sauce for today.
All right. So you don't have to do it, but you have to know it and understand it. So
There we go.
good
I love
advice.
it. Good stuff. Wow. Terry, what a great great show today. Thank you, Eric. That's a wonderful secret sauce. Regardless of where you are in the decorating space, right? Like I think the concept there is awesome. Ramona says, "Love your sauce." So there we go. Thank you, Ramona. All right. Well, Terry, we have come to the close of another show here today. Great show. We want to thank Jay, Cassie, and Teresa for spending some time with us here today to just talk sustainability in general, but also the event coming up on April 22nd. Make sure that everybody is registered at brandedmerchnetwork.com/SMS. Again, make sure you guys are go immediately over there and register, get on that list. Even if you can't make it, as they said, it will be recorded, but you have to be registered to get access to that. And I think you're going to want access to that, Terry.
Absolutely. Great information. We also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for all he does to keep us on the air, pushing those buttons, turning those wheels, and then jumping on live to do the secret sauce today.
There you go. Yep. Eric gets double pay today too, Terry. Everybody gets double pay.
Eric
This
and
is
Cassie.
great. Eric and
Sorry
Cassie.
about that whole pan flute thing.
Mountain Dulcimer was the correct answer, Terry. All right. So thank you, Eric. We appreciate you, buddy. Next week, we are tackling part 2 of our pricing show. So last week we talked about adding, or last time we had our pricing show, we talked about adding perceived value to our pricing and why that was so important. So next week we're going to talk about how to translate that into pricing that actually works for your business. So I'm excited to continue that conversation next week, Terry.
Absolutely. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the 2 regular guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of 2 Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the 2 Regular Guys.